Hi guys. So I don't really have a lot of time this week to film a proper video, where it's edited and all. So I'm sorry, it's gonna be a one take. But I really like the content of this video, and I'm reading it off my phone because, I don't want to mess it up. So the title of this content or this article that I wrote on my phone, which was "What does it take for me to not be a Christian anymore or not to follow Christ anymore?" And I think it was a topic or a maybe it was something that I always wanted to ask myself and always wanted to dive into because ever since the inception of this channel, where asking God a lot of questions or like um, when I was a little kid, what does it take for me to stop following this God that I've known all my life? you know Seriously, honestly, like if you manage to um, be able to somehow meet these three criteria which I'm going to talk to you about, I would seriously maybe disprove Christianity, and you've disproven Christianity for me. So what are these three claims? I've condensed it to three claims that needs to be disproven for me to renounce my faith. Firstly, was that Christ was not a person who walked the face of the earth, which is pretty hard to disprove because he is a historical person that did walk the face of the earth. Whether you ask any secular historians or whether you ask any Christian historians, it's all the same thing. They say that he was a person. But if you somehow manage to disprove that he was a person that did walk the face of the earth, then here comes the second claim, which was Christ did not resurrect and die. It did not die and resurrect again. And I think this is the jugular, like the throat of Christianity, where if you manage to renounce this or manage to disprove this fact, that Christ did not die and resurrect again, you have single-handedly defeated the Christian faith, because all of Christianity hinges on that one moment of resurrection, of death and resurrection, that Christ will fulfill what he said he would do and fulfill who he said he is. Because of this one fact, that's what the whole religion is basically hinging upon. I don't know whether I said it before, but that is something really is the jugular of Christianity. Lee Strobel, this very famous journalist, who was an atheist, he wrote this book called The Case for Christ, and it's basically him as an atheist trying to figure out whether Christianity is really true or not, using his factual deduction methods. And I mean, spoiler, he then became a Christian. That's why he has the book called The Case for Christ. And it was such an interesting intellectual experience seeing a man take all the facts, not at face value, take all the facts and all the words and from all the accounts from everybody, and then make a conclusion. I highly recommend that book, and it's also a film, so you also can watch it if you're too lazy to read. I watched the film first anyways. I watched the film, then I read the book. So yes, if you can single-handedly prove that Christ did not die and resurrect again, you have defeated Christianity. Second claim. Lastly, third claim, which I find to be the hardest, is to universally let me understand that Christ is no longer real anymore. What do I mean by that? So, there are some moments in time in my life where I feel like Christ is not real to me. And I mean, it's a very human experience. Like, why is God not there? Why is God not here? It's basically the cornerstone of all my videos in my channel. Why is God not here when I need him? Why is God not there when I need him? I don't understand him. So it's very human experience, and it's okay to have doubts. It's normalized having doubts, but also at the same time, we don't have doubts just for the sake of having doubts, or we don't have doubts to the end of time. We have doubts till we reach a conclusion of who Christ is and whether Christ is really valuable or is really present to us at that time. So that's why we only have doubts for a certain threshold. Where was I say so much, I don't know where I am already. Okay, but intellectually thinking, Christ is not with me, in my mind, personally thinking, Christ is not with me, is not the same as everybody in the whole entire world universally thinking that Christ is not real to them anymore. Makes sense, right? Because if this very moment I may think, oh, Christ is not real to me anymore, but to you or to anybody else who are so-called Christians in the world, Christ may be very real to them at that very same moment. So universally, we can never have this shared experience of Christ letting us down, unless he really does, you know, which is why this claim is a little bit hard, because it doesn't hinge on whatever we can do, on whatever we can find, whatever we can discover, like the other two. You know, the first one is we can research on whether Christ really was a person. The second one, we can research whether Christ really did die and resurrect again. But the third one is really up to God, and it's really up to Christ to let everybody down universally at the very same time. You know, sometimes people may feel differently at different points of times in their lives, but in the shared universe experience, I doubt everybody feels let down at the same time. Why do I say this? Because of this amazing thing the Bible calls testimonies. So, you know, we always say that the word of the testimonies helps encourage the faith, you know, helps encourage believers. And for me, I always think it was like some, you know, very airy fairy thing that Christians like to say on the pulpit. And I didn't really fully understand what testimonies mean to people, right, until I understood this claim, you know, where, you know, someone is sharing their genuine personal experience of encountering God in that moment, and encountering God in that very season, and how he showed up, or maybe he didn't even show up, but then somehow he managed to make a way for them somehow, or whatever. That's what testimony is, you know, reliving God's goodness and telling others about it. And that not only encourages people to cling on to hope that God will come back again, but at the same time, it also shows that my shared experience of God, of this God, this same God that this person had, is so different from them, and universally it cannot be the same, you know, where this moment I feel this way to God, like I feel sad, I feel down, but then they are still praising God in the very same breath. And I think that is the most beautiful part of Christianity, where sometimes you may feel God is letting you down at the moment, but universally it cannot be that he's letting everybody in the world down at the very same moment. Do you get what I mean? I don't know whether this is coming across to you properly, but yeah, this is having a feeling of personal doubt is not the same as seeing a universal truth no longer being real to every human on earth anymore. Having a feeling of personal doubt, I'll say this again, is not the same as seeing a universal truth, which is Christ, no longer being real to every human on earth anymore. Almost impossible. So that's why I feel that the third claim that I have is the hardest to disprove, because it's not up to you, it's not up to anybody in the world, it's up to God, whether he is really going to let everybody in the whole entire world be let down at the very same time. And that is why it's hard, because it's not in our control, it's only in God's control. And I don't think, for my experience, this short experience I have on earth so far, that God really has managed to let everybody, universally, everyone on the face of the earth down at the same time, because of this thing called testimonies. Yeah. So the first claim that you need me to renounce my faith is Christ was not a person that walked the face of the earth. Secondly is Christ did not die and resurrect again. And thirdly, which I find the hardest, is to find that Christ is universally no longer real to everybody on the face of the earth anymore. 3 things. So yeah. So this will be the short video. Try my best to really explain my heart and explain what I'm going on. So hopefully you'll get it. And thank you so much for watching. Thumbnail. And I'll see you soon next time, guys. Have a nice day. Bye.